Thanks for stopping by to check out yet another episode of Vintage Audio Review. In this episode, I'm going to talk about, you guessed it, the Klipsch KG2, or as they're more commonly referred to, the KG2. A few months after I retired, I reached out to a business acquaintance of mine who has become a friend, and we were talking and I told him I was getting more into audio stuff now. He says, "Oh, how would I get rid of a pair of speakers?" And I asked him what they were, and he said Klipsch KG2s. Well, I had no idea what Klipsch KG2s were, and looked them up, and then he sent some pictures of them. And fortunately, my friend, we'll just call him Jake, keeps his stuff very clean. So he had purchased these in college, and when I looked at the pictures, there wasn't a scratch or dent on them. The surrounds were all looking good. And he said, "You know what, if you pay for the shipping, you can have them." All right. Well, shipping isn't cheap from Maryland. It cost about $300 to ship the pair. He was able to seal them up with foam around the speakers in nice boxes and did a real good job. Plus he also threw in his Yamaha double cassette deck. Listened to them a little bit and they sounded okay, and I didn't really have a place for them, and I put them up on their sides in an area where I could still use them in a way, and that's where they've been until this video when I decided to review them. So the Klipsch KG2 was made around 1989 and sold for $1,100 or so a pair in today's dollars. They are a two-way speaker. They have the tweeter, an 8-inch woofer, and they have a 10-inch passive radiator, and they have some nice four-way binding posts. The two speakers do have sequential serial numbers, and they are in, like I said earlier, very good shape. So the speakers weigh in about 28 pounds each and are about 19 inches tall by 13 inches wide by 12 inches deep. The nominal speaker impedance, according to the datasheet, is 4 ohms, and they are rated for 65 watts continuous and 325 watts peak. I brought the other speaker out so you can see what it looks like with the grill. They just push on in. I wanted to talk a little bit about how I did my listening tests on them. I hooked them up in front of my KEF 107 speakers because the KEF 107s are having the ferrofluid replaced in the tweeters, so they are down for probably 2 weeks. That is just something you do with the KEFs of that age. The ferrofluid can dry out, and it's better to nip that in the bud before it damages the tweeter. Anyway, I digress, sorry. So I hooked these up in front of them, and they're on, these are milk crates. I don't know if you can see if I lift it up, but they're milk crates. And that was the height that they were on. I have a tile floor with a rug, probably like a 6-foot by 8-foot rug in front of the speakers, and then my chair, which is about 12 feet back. And so I had them hooked up, and I towed them in about the right angle and started listening to them. I started listening to my normal music that I listen to. I was very impressed with how they sounded. It just surprised the heck out of me, because I kind of listened to them before a little bit in another room, and I thought they sounded okay, but yeah, I don't really need them out somewhere right now. And after listening to them this last day and a half, I am now finding a place to put them where I can listen to them more regularly. I was surprised with the bass that they put out. I mean, it's not like the KEF 107s, but it put out a comfortable amount of bass to where I was just happy listening to all the music that I normally listen to, and I had to force myself to get up and do some chores. I just wanted to listen to them and try this song or that song. But I thought they were clear. I thought the bass just was good. Now, they are above a tile floor, hard tile floor, and like I said, they're about 19 inches up, and my head is probably almost in line with them when I'm in the chair, and I would say they did everything great. I just really enjoy them. I mean, I can only tell you that if you get a chance to listen to them, or find a pair on Craigslist, or maybe somebody you know has some, or you see some at a yard sale and the surrounds are good, it would be worth possibly investing some money in them, because I just thought they did most everything great. So here we have some plots of the frequency response of the KG2. And this guy right here came from the owner's manual, and this would have been the one that Klipsch provided way back when. This point right here, this -10, a line across, is the 90 dB SPL. So you can kind of compare its shape to this guy here. And this is what I measured. Now you're looking at both the left and right speaker here with and without the grill on. So right now I'm just going to show you the serial number 305, and this would be with the grill on, and here is with the grill off. So you can see there is a better frequency response with the grill off than there is with the grill on. And likewise, if we come over to the serial number 304, this guy right here is with this is the grill on right here, and you can tell that this is with the grill off. So with the grill off, you have a little bit better high-end frequency response. But at the lower frequencies, you can tell it doesn't make a lot of difference. And with them all on, you can tell that their responses are very close to each other. Now you do have some suckouts here, and a lot of this is probably due to the room that I did the measurements in. But overall, you can kind of tell that the SPL is around 90. Here's our 90 line right here. And it kind of goes around 90 at 1 kilohertz. We have about 88.63. So their spec was 90.5, I think. It didn't really specify the frequency, but I'm assuming it was 1 kilohertz. And we're not too far off from what they measured using my rough measurements. So here we have a plot showing the speaker impedance for both of the KG2s. And they both kind of lie upon one another, which is good. So their impedances are pretty close between the two speakers. The minimum impedance occurs right here, probably about 190 hertz, I would say, and it's about 4 ohms. And basically, we don't go lower than 4 ohms, and we do go as high as, 32 ohms, and here we have maybe 25 ohms. But both speakers kind of match, and we don't go below 4 ohms. As far as the phase, here is our phase of the two speakers, and they both follow the same kind of plot, and this kind of just shows how they behave from maybe minus 46 degrees, 44 degrees on up to plus 44 degrees. And so that just kind of shows how the two speakers vary with their phase portion of the impedance over frequency. So the data shows that both speakers aged pretty much the same way, both in impedance as well as measuring their frequency response and sound pressure level. At 1 kilohertz, the frequency response was around 88 point something dB, and the spec was 90.5. So it's pretty close. Of course, we're in a much different environment than probably Klipsch was measuring their speakers in, with probably much more sophisticated equipment in some respects than what I am using. Overall, I thought the data showed these guys perform fairly decently. Once you get above 50 to 60 hertz, it seems like you're in the low 80 dB SPLs on these guys, and then they stayed right around 90 dB SPL up to the high end, and then they increased a little bit. So overall, just performance-wise, I thought they did fine. I don't know that they're anything that they're really lacking in. I mean, you're not going to get earth-shaking bass, but they did rattle my chair a little bit that I was in, and I was hitting maybe 30 watt peaks, and it sounded really good. Maybe they don't have the imaging sound stage as like a Falcon or a BMR that I heard at a show a few weeks ago up in Fountain Hills, presented by the Arizona Audio Video Club. They had about 19 different pairs of speakers. Most of them were more bookshelf. This would have been one of the larger ones, but I think this guy would have got several first place votes had it been there with these other brand new speakers. But I can't say enough good things about them. I am totally surprised I now have to find a place to put them that my wife does not object to. They are just too good to have them on their sides where they are now. You have to always listen to speakers. They are the most important piece of your system. Find a set of speakers if you're able that you like in the showroom, or bring them home if you have a chance to listen to them, and then build the rest of your system around that, because speakers are just really personal. Once you can decide on some speakers, you can go from there with your amplifier and then preamp, etc., etc. But these are a nice bang for the buck, I guess I would say, and I just highly recommend them. They just sound really good, you know, all around, and I'm very thankful for my friend Jake for offering them to me for the price of shipping. So once again, I thank you for watching this episode. I like hearing comments when you write them. I've only had a few comments that I thought were a little off, but nobody's told me to pound sand or anything at all like that. I'm sure those will come. But anyway, I like to hear your comments. And if you have not subscribed, please do. Once again, have a great day or night.